Bum. Ba-da, ba-dum. Bodacious cowboys, such as your friend, will never be welcome here. High in the custard dome. Oh, you're having my baby.
What?
You're a woman in love, and I love what it's doing to you.
Ew.
You taught me that song.
I did. I learned it from Glee, where it was also meant to make everyone uncomfortable, and did. So, where have you been, Paul Rita?
I spawned.
You.
I had a baby. I didn't have the baby.
I was going to say you personally.
I mostly stood there while people did things to my wife, and then at the end there was a baby.
And is this a life-changing event?
Yeah, it's been officially it's a change of life event according to government standards.
I mean, like beyond the U.S. government's definition, in which they say we define this as a change of life.
No, I got a baby. It's crazy. I love it.
I'm glad.
I really like the baby.
I
had trepidation about the baby.
Yeah, I was terrified as well. My wife had to talk me down. But now that I'm a full-fledged parent, I love it. And I will say parenthood looks good on you, Mr. Rita.
Yeah, I like it. I think I have a really easy time at it because, as I've mentioned before, my wife was a night shift nurse. So
she's been training for this.
Well, yeah, it's like for most people, having a newborn baby is like a radical altering of your life. And for my wife, it's like she just got a way better job. Like she just had her old job and now it's just way better. She only has one patient. It's very tiny. It can't talk back. It does whatever she makes it. She can just make it do whatever she wants. And the diapers are like 1/4 of the size. It's really easy.
Or like 1/8. Those newborn diapers are tiny.
I don't know. The baby's 2 feet tall. I don't think the baby's going to become 6 feet tall.
We're going by height?
I don't know.
I don't know how we size diapers.
I don't know how we size people. I guess
we should use
if you go by weight.
Total cubic mass is how I would do it.
The baby's like 11 pounds. So yes, the baby would be 10 times bigger then maybe.
I measure myself in cubic centimeters.
Okay, well, I don't have that at hand. But yeah, no, my wife is just like, this is fine. This is great. I love it. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to bed. Have fun.
And on that note, this is the Unofficial Shopify podcast. I'm your host, Kurt Elster.
Ew.
Oh, I hit the wrong sound. I'm your host, Kurt Elster.
Tech nasty.
Better. And I'm joined by my co-host and this show's producer, Paul Rita.
Ew.
All the listeners are my children.
I see. Well, they can... Well, what... Yeah, I've got nothing for that.
I want to change the little pea butts.
You're on fire with this one. I'm struggling to keep up.
I'm back. I've been gone for 6 weeks. You did great. I got to go on paternity leave and like barely work for 6 weeks, and you held down the fort, and I super appreciate it. It was great.
And then I went on a cruise, so that was my payoff. It all worked out. But I'm glad. I'm thrilled. Today, we are answering our listeners, also known as Paul Rita's adopted children. We're answering your burning e-commerce questions. And so we did an AMA. We have been overdue on doing an Ask Me Anything in our Facebook group, the Unofficial Shopify Podcast Insiders. And so we got some good questions. We are going to go over that in this episode. That's all we're discussing, except I lied. But first, we have some housekeeping to go over because Shopify is on fire with some new releases. So we got an updated version of the Shopify Flow app for our Shopify Plus folks who do automation in their stores. And what else we got? Shopify partnered with Chinese e-com giant JD.com. If you're not familiar with it, it is it's the alternative to AliExpress. JD is huge, JD.com. I was not familiar with it, if I'm honest. But what this means for Shopify merchants specifically is U.S. merchants are going to be able to fast track selling their goods into China with this program. It's like it sounded like it is both online sales channel and an accelerator, a program.
Can I ask you questions about this? Like,
all right,
I saw the headline.
I read a couple articles and some press releases, so I really don't.
Is it essentially like, fulfilled by Amazon, but it's fulfilled by JD.com, and that's how Chinese people would access your store is via fulfilled by JD.com, and they act as the people as store owners in America would act with Amazon?
That's what it felt like.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I saw like this program does the translation for you, gets advertised to the products, gets it into the country. It sounded good. So they've got Shopify Balance is their new thing announced. Today is the day of this recording. It's a no-fee business bank account that lives inside your Shopify admin. So just like every conceivable tool that you need to run and start an online store, Shopify's just adding it into the admin. Like we saw it with when Shopify Payments just became a native thing inside your admin. Now they're like, look, the payouts had to go elsewhere. Why can't they live here and stay with us, right, in our admin?
Yeah,
and
why give them money to a bank when you could give them your money to a company that's not a bank?
Shopify Balance is an alternative to a bank.
Oh, that's safe.
Oh, as if
I know.
As if you like banks.
I know.
Who likes banks?
Well, they do hold the money.
Only because I don't have an alternative.
This is pretty all right.
A reliable
All right, so
alternative.
there's a thing called money market accounts, which is essentially like giant piles of cash that isn't that they're used for like short-term loans, like business to business things.
Yeah.
So like this is what this is. Like what Shopify is going to do, they're just going to have like hundreds of millions of dollars in cash. That's your cash. And then Shopify is going to take that, plug that into the money market, and they're just going to make interest on doing nothing and holding on to your money.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. A bank does the same thing.
I know.
And so does PayPal. If you just leave the balance with PayPal.
I know. It's just weird, though. It's like, well, now you got a Shopify card. This is like banking. There's like regulations around banking.
I assume they know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. That's a great sentence.
There's a legal counsel involved. There were contracts and lawyers. The debit card's really cool. It's black, says Shopify. It's vertical.
I'm out on black cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're like all cards are black now?
All cards are black now. Come on.
Here's the thing. I have that Apple card. It's solid white. It immediately turns filthy.
Yeah, I read that.
Mine's it's like gray and dingy. Whereas the black card, you don't have that issue. It stays much cleaner. Because that's how I choose my debit and credit cards is based on color and cleanliness.
I just have a series of Italian beef juice jars buried around my property that I keep my cash in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a treasure map for those?
You know the spots.
That makes sense. You know the spots. You're out there like digging up your irrigation system. No. And then the other notable release, they expanded the native Metafields that we had seen pop up in product pages last year to now they've been added to orders, collections, and customers.
Yeah, and we had a couple ideas over the course of Q3 and Q4 where we had a thing we wanted to do for a client, and then we were like, oh, we do that with Metafields. Oh, it's on the collection page. Oh, they're not giving us collection Metafields yet.
Well, they're here.
So they're here.
They have delivered. Let's jump into our AMA so that we can do some asking and answering. All right, we're going to run through these in the order that you gave them to me. You have returned. You start the first one off.
Brenda McFarlane. I struggle with using different SEO for similar items. I sell jewelry. Do you have any tips? I don't. That's not my job.
We're not SEO experts. However, the subtext of this question is, I need SEO for similar items. I sell jewelry. And so one of the things in SEO is you need to have unique content per page to make sure that all of the pages will show up in search results. And you don't want that duplicate content issue to come up. And so I think the answer here is, well, everything has to have a unique description. but depending on how many listings she has, that's not practical. So if you've got, number one, you want these listings to be as distinct as possible. You want them to be longer if possible, not needlessly so. I like to treat them as a sales letter, your product description will always make life easy. This has been my advice in the past. But all right, let's say you've got 500 items. But it's just not realistic to do that. It's certainly not to do it all at once. So I would take the Pareto's principle approach and just apply it to the top products. And what's really cool, Shopify now, they have the ABC analysis report. I love this thing. It is a report that grades your products ABC, and it tells you the A products, they're like, these are the ones that make you the most money. C, this is the stuff that, if it's here, it's a necessary evil, and otherwise you should probably get rid of it, and B is just like everything else. So really, you run that report, and then just work through in order of revenue, units sold, writing great descriptions for just those A products. Like, they don't all have to have fabulous descriptions. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of subtext here, and there's reasons. And
yeah, I'm just making up a scenario here, but it's like if she's selling rings, and there's sort of like a base ring, and then she has like different stones inside the ring.
Are those like, different listings or one listing?
Of the same listing, and then it's like, oh, well, you can get like, little shoulder stones to either side of it. Is that like another variant option on the same product, or is that like this band, it's made up, say every ring has like 4 parts. Say there's like a band, and the bands could all be different, and it's like, what is the center stone, and like what's like shoulder stones, yes, no, then like what those are. So it's like, is that one product listing? Is that 100 product listings?
Now you want to make this really complicated?
And then you hit the variant limit?
And then you whack into the 100 variant limit. Oh, I hate that thing. Where this gets really weird is, what if they're all one-off items?
Yeah.
She handcrafts one unique ring. It sells. It's sold out forever. You get those issues with like vintage stores too, resale stores. And so that it's like, I guess you just got to put in the work to write a unique description every time. That's tough.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, what if there's like a paragraph that applies to all the rings? That's like, our rings are handcrafted in the volcano that blew up in Tonga, and like, all that sort of stuff. Like, if you have that on every product description, is that bad?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Do you know so?
I don't know so. Okay. My experience tells me that you're not just going to get like kicked off the internet because too many of your descriptions are too similar. That's just not a thing that's going to occur.
I mean, what is the similar page penalty? Like, how similar does it got to be?
I'm sure there's a percentage to it, but essentially the duplicate page penalty, it's not so much a penalty as they just go, all right, these two pages are so similar that we're just going to take the one that is either published sooner or has the most internal links to it, and they're just going to show that one more than the others. That's the risk to they all have identical copy. And again, truthfully, I'm really not an SEO expert.
I assume very much that the title of the product is different. So at least you have like an H1 that's completely different.
That's a good point.
On the product. And like maybe if they have different options. And the images, does Google care the images are different? Do they know that?
I would think they know that. Okay. Especially on like an e-commerce page where it's written into structured data.
Yeah, I mean, and Shopify like really gives Google...
a properly set up Shopify theme describes the page to the machine.
Yeah, and so like the machine can see the differences.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not that big a thing to worry about.
Yeah, at least in here. But I think that's the approach is, okay, what sells the most? Give that a longer, better description. Braden Steffenshine, can you go over the new Metafields? Collections, customers' orders, added in Shopify, and best use cases, examples, and utilizing them. Let's start at what the heck is a Metafield?
All right, a Metafield is a little piece of information. Like you create like a bucket in Shopify that's like a Metafield, and it's like you're creating your own piece of information. Like it's going to be on a product page. It could be like a little tagline that's like our best-selling item, or like make your face look prettier or whatever. It's just like a little one-line thing you could jam in there.
I could add a bonus field.
Like a little bonus
that
field.
I define what it is.
Yeah, like think about your product your product listings on the back end of Shopify, there's all those fields you got to fill out. You could create bonus fields that there's more fields you have to fill out.
So currently it's like, title, price, description, and then I could be like title, price, tagline, description.
Or like hero image. That's like a big image that appears below the product form. That's like the full bleed width of the page.
Okay.
And then so you could create all those, and then those will now appear on the product listing, and then you just fill them out. You upload the giant hero image, or you type in what your cool little tagline, buzzline is, and all that sort of stuff. And then it can be different for every single product on the store handled on that product page. And that's product Metafields. And so it's the same thing. You do the same thing with collections, where you have your back-end collection listing. There's extra fields you could fill out there, and like putting in extra little piece of information. That being said, someone needs to go into the code and make that Metafield available, like put in the little code snippet that calls the Metafield and like put it into the page, so the Metafield actually appears on the page. And this is another thing with sections everywhere, where you could create sections, and those sections can be populated by Metafields, and you got to create the Metafield, but then maybe you don't have to go in the code. You just have to create a section for it, and then select that, this section is going to be populated by this Metafield. It's a huge pain in the ass. It's really powerful and awesome, and can make your pages really cool, but you really got to figure out what you're doing.
Yes. So yeah, they're saying, hey, we've opened up our Shopify as a content management system. We're opening up a big chunk of this to you, where you could define your own content structure, your own taxonomy.
Yeah,
your variables, like custom fields for product pages, which is really helpful for those longer form product pages. And stuff like, all right, this is, I've got my H1 as my product title. Well, it's my H2. Oh, I can add that as a Metafield now. And Metafields have been around for years, but it was powered by an app. And the apps all took different approaches to it. So it's a little weird. And now Shopify is saying, hey, this is native. So it really, support for it is much improved. And we had been using Metafields, and this new system is even easier. So we like it. And now they're saying, all right, now we're going to give you that same thing in other places. For a collection, this is the helpful one. Oftentimes on a collection page, maybe we're feeling a little limited. We've got title, description, and image, and that's it, similar to the product page. Well, what if I want more info? What if I want a description at the top and the bottom? Okay, I could do that with Split, but I don't want to do that. The Metafield will let me add that. Yeah. So I can add these extra description fields in there. Maybe there's a sidebar. I can add that in there. Or we've done some really complex things in the past where we have like a promo, like the fifth in your collection. You got a collection with 20 things on it, and the fifth product gets replaced with like a promo.
Or like a video.
Or a video explaining it.
Yeah, or like, of one of the blocks, there's like all the products being listed out, and then we actually inject a video that's like the same height as all the product listings in there, so it really fits in with the flow of the grid and all that. You could define that video in the Metafield for that collection.
Yeah, or just like stick in the URL for the YouTube video.
It's a big thing to like break the collection grid like that. And so it's easier with Metafields, where you're like, well, if the video Metafield's filled out, do this. But if it's not filled out, do this. And if it is filled out, when you break it, inject this video, whatever video's been uploaded in the Metafield, and sort of do all that. It's just easier GUI tools to make changes to individual things on the store. Because under the old templating system, if I made a change in the collection template, but only wanted it to be on one collection or on two collections or whatever, I'd have to do a bunch of stuff, or I'd have to create an entirely separate template for that collection. And then maybe if I do that 5 times, now I got 5 different collection templates that were like, oh, by the way, on all the collections, we want to do this. Well, now you got to do that 5 times. And it's like a huge pain in the ass to wrangle all these templates. Well, and now you don't have to.
More importantly, those old approaches that you just described all live in the theme.
Yeah.
So that also means I have a good chunk of content living in the theme. It's like in a content management system, you want to try and separate style versus substance. So design and content. So I want as much of the theme to not have content stored in it And Metafields really gets us out of that. So I like that. As far as like the customers and orders Metafields, I would imagine that's more useful for customers. Like, great, I can use Shopify as more as a CRM. Like currently, you're probably using Shopify plus an email system like Klaviyo, and then Klaviyo I could set custom properties on customer profiles. And so this really adding Metafields to customers, I have not done it. I would imagine it's so you can do those things like store those custom properties. Like birthday would be an example, or like this is the topic I'm subscribed to in a newsletter. And then for orders, I would suspect that's more for like ERP integrations, so we could store like some bonus data that the ERP needs to know.
Yeah, maybe if there's
out loud.
Maybe if there's like this product gets like a pack in thrown in with it or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, something to that effect, or even just like more complex order notes or gift notes. Yeah, but the pack in that's a smart example. We got Dan McClen.
I run a Shopify jewelry store in the UK, and I'm looking to expand in the US. I have a .co.uk and a .com, which I set up using Shopify's geo settings, so it automatically picks the correct currency, but it's the same website. So mainly set up for the UK. He's got a huge opportunity rate, but the .com has a low conversion rate, or whatever. The US people get a low conversion rate because it's obvious it's a UK business. You guys even spell jewelry differently. Do we only do it with one L?
Yeah, we have one L. He has two L's.
Oh, so Brendan McFarlane also used two L's. Secret Brit. Do you think this is putting people off? Yes. Is there a way to replicate my store without setting up a whole new Shopify store, but be able to edit certain parts of it? What are the SEO implications?
All right, hold on here. Listen to this last line. All right, so he's identified the problem. I'm trying to sell overseas. For him, he's trying to sell into the U.S., but the U.S. customers are resistant to buy from overseas. And so he needs to make it more localized.
Yeah.
And so he needs more flexibility in the store. And then he says, hey, is there a way to replicate the store without setting up a whole new store, but be able to edit certain parts of it without SEO implications? Well, it sounds like you're like, look, setting up a second store, which will give you complete and total flexibility and like utterly granular controls, and you already know how a Shopify store works. So now you got to manage two of them, but you know how to do it, how it works. Instead of that, you're like, let me set it, because that's a lot of work. Let me come up with a really convoluted process to try and have only certain parts of the site change things to make it more localized. You're just trading one set of headaches for another. I would just, if I really want the control over regionally localized stores, I would run separate stores.
Can he do it? So, again, I know nothing about SEO. I hope this doesn't hurt him. Could he do, I don't know, whatever, dansjewelry.com and then have like uk.dansjewelry.com and us.dansjewelry.com?
Yeah.
And then there are two separate Shopify stores on the back end using different subdomains, but the SEO reads that as a single store, right? Because it's the same URL.
There's a meta tag that you use to do this, and I know there's a way to get them associated.
So that's the way to do it then.
Yeah. And there's also the Shopify Markets feature, which is meant to directly address the issues he's describing, but it's coming soon.
Okay. So I was wondering, because I remember Shopify was talking about that a lot, but I didn't know if they.
But it's even in settings. Like if you go in the settings in your admin, you'll see like markets coming soon.
Okay.
So the fact that it's already in your admin suggests that
really
like
a tease.
Yeah, but it also suggests like that's genuinely coming soon.
Yeah. So I think he wants to set up two stores He wants to set up two stores. Yeah, I would Americanize all the spelling, get rid of all of the unnecessary U's, I feel, and spell jewelry the right way. If I was shopping from a store and I found out it was from overseas, my worry would be shipping costs.
That's the immediate. It's like, I know I'm going to pay more for shipping. I've had stuff just disappear in customs, or like it's gone, the tracking stops updating, and then around the time I've forgotten about it, like 6 months later, it just appears.
So I think the biggest problem, the biggest worry on the mind of his UK shoppers is going to be different than the biggest worry on the mind of his US shoppers.
Yeah.
So
maybe he could address it. Like,
you got to address it. I feel like
reshipping insurance.
Yeah, I would hide that you're in the UK as much as possible. Other than like, on the About Us page, just be
but
like,
what happens when the order ships and it's from the UK? Is the person going to be like, are they going to be mad?
No, I don't think they're going to care. I just think the problem is I'd hide it the whole time, other than on like on the About Us page that you're in, like, Stratford, Berkshire. And then obviously the shipping is going to be different. He's going to have to charge for shipping, I assume. I don't know. And so he's got to have a reason to be like, we ship from the UK. That's better because...
Yeah, the jewelry is better when it comes from Diagon Alley.
Because the Queen touched it. I don't know. And then there you go.
There's just going to be straight 1-star reviews that all you spell color with a U.
Bad about the Queen? I watched The Crown. She's had quite a life.
Oh, man, people love that show. I've not seen it.
Hopefully she's not dead by the time this comes out.
Oh, jeez. Go!
They're keeping her in a box. They don't want her to be like Betty White. But just before the finish line, doesn't make it.
You're really full of hot takes this episode.
I haven't talked to these people in weeks. I haven't talked to my children in weeks.
And you're like, all right, number 1, I'm going to shock and scar you. That's priority 1.
That's what a good dad does.
Priority 2, education. It helps them remember. So the answer is like, hey, you just got to bite the bullet and do the separate stores if you want to do it right.
Do the separate stores, do the subdomain trick, and then talk to someone smarter than us about SEO in order to mitigate whatever SEO implications might be. And I think come to the understanding that you have 2 separate audiences. I mean, there's going to be a lot of crossover in that Venn diagram, but it's still going to be separate because of the shipping issue.
Yes.
The international shipping issue.
You're absolutely right. Now, all right, as a thought exercise, if he wanted to keep going with what he's doing and still have it localize the text, I could 100% do that Google Optimize using personalization. Just have it start tweaking the language throughout the page.
Well,
this is I don't recommend this idea.
Don't even bring it up because it's like, I could do it. It's awful, but I could do it.
You could do it. It would be janky and probably unreliable, but it's possible. But it's just like, again, it's like you're just trading one set of issues for a new set of issues. Let's see. Frequent commenter Clifford Shakan says, "What's the best pizza in Chicago? We're known for deep dish."
I want to open with, I was thinking about joking about this one, but this is not a laughing matter. 1, we don't eat deep dish constantly.
Isn't that funny?
It's a sometimes food. It's like once every 3 months, maybe. It's been at least a year since I've eaten deep dish pizza. It's a stereotype. The actual Chicago pizza is thin crust, tavern style, square cut pizza.
The bar pizza.
Yeah, that's actual Chicago pizza. The deep dish is like a fun little side piece. Like, that's not what we're really
It's regional. It came from here. All right,
sure.
but give me your favorite deep dish.
All right, well, the best deep dish is definitely Pequod's.
All right, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's Pequod's without question. Of the 3 big chains, there's like 3 big deep dish chains. There's Giordano's, Lou Malnati's,
and Gino's
East. Giordano's, I would say, is the best one. It used to be Gino's East, but they really cratered about a decade ago.
Got
a lot worse.
I felt Gino's East was the best as well.
were.
Now I think it's just like flip a coin between Lou Malnati's and Giordano's.
Yeah, they got bought out by like a PE firm, and they really wrecked Gino's. So Giordano's is the best, unless you can get Pequod's, which is definitely the best.
Yeah, it's independent, family owned.
Yeah.
It's good.
Square cut, my fave is Dino's on Higgins.
Oh.
Yeah. That's my ancestral family pizza place from where I grew up eating Dino's. So that's my favorite. It might not be the best.
I'm going to go with Barnaby's.
I've never liked Barnaby's.
Barnaby's licenses their recipe to other pizza places.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's a good one.
There was a place...
They put the cornmeal on the crust. That's critical for me.
There was a place on Kedzie. I forget what it was called, but I lived across the street from it when I lived on Kedzie. That place was good, too, just south of the Kedzie Brown line. It's where I'd take all my dates when I was dating and single. It was like a bar that had pizza, and whenever I went on a date, I would be like, oh, there's like this cool quiet bar pizza place not far from my house. Like, you want to go meet there for the date? And they'd be like, oh, sure, of course. And it'd be like literally across the street from my house. I'd go on a date, be 3 minutes. I'd leave 3 minutes before the date started. It was awesome.
I like that we just found out how Paul Rita would run game.
That's where I met my wife.
Oh, see, it works.
Yeah, and
pizza's so good it gets you married.
Yeah, and and I was just like, you want to go back to my place?
And now you have a baby.
I was like, it's right there.
All because
Turn
of a
around,
pizza.
It's right there.
Here's one a little loaded. Anthony Watts, what's the best 2.0 store you have found? Design / speed, etc.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, online store 2.0, it's like it's a feature set. If I'm just looking at a store from the outside, I really can't identify it as one versus the other.
I'm just going to say it. Sections Anywhere really doesn't do anything for us.
Because I'm so into Metafields.
Like, we're into Metafields, and we know how to actually rank all the back end of the store. So we're kind of like, I'm not dealing with that shit. It's like, I mean,
I like that a homepage section works through all other sections. That's Sections Everywhere does that. That's a nice feature.
Well, it's essentially, it's like if you were formatting a document, would you do it in Word and then highlight all the things and then click the little button that makes it italicized and then highlight this word and then click the button that makes it bold? Or would you just write Markdown or the HTML code to actually just make it italicized and bold and have control over it?
You know that I'm a big nerd using a text editor, and I would use Markdown or HTML.
And so they gave you what Sections Anywhere Online Store 2.0 or whatever is the Word GUI tools for an attempt at the Word GUI tools for the store owners. For us, it's meaningless.
All right, so let's talk about Shopify's approach to theming. They're saying, hey, we're going to meet merchants where they are at whatever their current technical skill level, whether it's they're limited by skill, current skill, or that's just all they need. And it's, hey, there's no code, which is I could install a theme and use the theme editor. And that's where Online Store 2.0 really expands.
Yeah, expands the powers there, yeah.
Yeah, there's low code where, all right, I could go in the theme editor myself. I don't have to use FTP. I don't have to use a text editor. I could just edit it right in my Shopify store.
Yeah.
And I could pop a metafield in, and then I can add a custom field. Like, I can make custom fields, and that's low code. And then if I want to go to, full code, I can hire a theme developer to customize a theme, build a custom theme, or completely go, full nerd street cred and use the Shopify Hydrogen tools.
Yeah. Because
Shopify now supports headless on their own with Hydrogen framework.
Yeah, so you're not even logging into the Shopify code back end. It's like a thing that you are running on your machine on your servers.
And so this idea of Online Store 2.0 really is it's that feature set and vision. The themes have to support it.
2.0 compatible, meaning they have support for some of that low code stuff, meaning essentially instead of using the old Liquid templates, the templates are now defined in JSON. That's all it is.
Just a little quicker.
Sure.
But yeah, so my point is I wouldn't get hung up on this is a 1.0 versus a 2.0 theme.
To 90% of you, it doesn't matter.
And that rollout very quick. If you go in the Shopify theme store, it's going to show you this is a 2.0 theme. Obviously, if you're picking a theme, you want one that's
you don't want to pick. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're buying a new theme today, don't go buy a 1.0 theme.
Obviously, cars from 2020 are better than cars from 2015, but it's not cars from 2015, garbage trash. Oh my God. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. You're right. You know what? That actually is a pretty good comparison. Edwin Alejandro Ruiz. How do I improve conversion rate? I have 150 visitors per day, but only 1 to 2 sales per week. I sell soccer-inspired watches with a social purpose. At footlove.com, F-U-T-L-O-V.
I looked at Footlove before we started recording, and it's fit and finish issues. For some reason, to be frank, the store looks cheap. It looks cheap and not very well made and not very trustworthy. And you're selling $200 watches, which is kind of a weird place. It's weird to sell a watch that's more than $150, but less than $4,000. That's not an Apple Watch. It's a weird spot to be in.
All right, so I will say when you Google it, they've got the nice search listing. Like in the Google search listing, which I think is important, it looks really nice. And the theme itself is a good theme, looks good. But like immediately when I land on it, spin to win.
Yeah, spin to win. And on the desktop version, the navigation was like off by like 100 pixels to the right and up for like 20 pixels for no reason.
There's a tagline on the logo on mobile that's illegible.
Yeah, and so, and you click on, and so, okay, so we got the images, which are all kind of boring, not that zoomed in. And then we have all these soccer players.
Which this is cool.
From MSL, which is cool. All of those photos on the product pages are like 200 by 200 pixels. They're thumbnails. They look like trash.
Okay.
And the other thing to me, and like, we got all the seals underneath the add to cart button. I don't know, for me, those seals make it look real low rent. I hate those.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It screams 2002 to me.
I got mixed feelings about the seals.
And then the other problem is I understand.
Trust badges.
Yeah. And the other thing to me is I understand that it's like we have a purpose and we donate all this money. That seems to be the main value proposition of the store is we donate money. And it's like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, it's nice. It's like an extra little 5 to 10% to get me to buy, but that can't be the entire value prop. The value prop is the watch I'm getting.
It's tough because for men, a watch is jewelry.
Yeah.
Right? Like if men could wear gemstones the way women would, the Swiss watch industry would not exist.
Yeah.
And I think this site is so close. He's got good product descriptions. He has good photos. He has interesting products. I do like some of these watches. I would wear some of these.
But yeah, like this training vest penny, I don't know what that is. It's just like a shirt, like a training shirt. Like the photo, the aspect ratio is all off. It's crushed.
So I think the answer is like,
it's just these tiny fit. It's like there's 20 problems on the site that all need to be 5% better, and now your site is 100% better.
So the Doug Geiger from Can You Handlebar always said to me, he said the 90%, you can get to 90% quality. That's not bad. Getting the last 10% of quality is going to cost you just as much as the first 90% did. And that's what we're seeing here, where it's like, all right, you're at 90%. I need you to get that last 5 to 10% of fixes.
I would not give him a 90%. But
I think you're being overly critical.
No, I
think there's a handful of things to fix.
So to me, it's just low effort. All the images are too small. They're broken in some ways. They're squished. It just screams very low effort to me, and low effort to me is.
I don't see squished images. Where are you seeing squished images?
On products on the homepage, there's like the runners on the homepage. That's all squished. It screams low effort to me, and then it's like, now I'm going to give you $200 for a watch, and like watches are things that break. People know watches that break. There's the classic, like, oh, I got a Rolex I bought on the street. Like that's going to break in 48 hours.
I think the answer,
it's fit and finish.
Yeah. Go through it with a really critical eye and make a list of like everything that goes like, well, this is why it's not perfect. And then either fix as much of it you can by yourself. And then if there's anything else, pass it off to a theme dev, small task service, whatever.
Like it says something. Sebastian Villa is one of the guys wearing the watches. I've heard of that guy. If you said who's Sebastian Villa, I'd be like, that's a guy that plays soccer.
I would have that
there should
above
be more
the fold.
Photos of him. Yeah,
I know. I was quite shocked when I scrolled to the bottom and discovered like, whoa, he has for real soccer players wearing these watches.
Yeah,
I would have that above the fold at the top. I think that's what sells it.
Yeah, it's just like here's a fairly pedestrian, nondescript, normal ass watch. And we'll be giving money to kids. Like, all right.
Paul's like, I hate kids. I'm father of the year. Don't give them any money. Well, what are they going to do with money? They're kids.
Here's the thing. That's
my Paul impression.
This baby, great. Love her. Eventually, she's going to be a kid. Some people are like, this car's 4 years old. I need a new car. I can't deal with it. That's what's going to happen with this baby.
I keep collecting old ones.
I think this baby gets 1 year old. We trade it in for a new
Paul Rita. Your heart will grow in love and abundance every day with your child.
It's true. Every day I come in and I'm just like, my baby smiled.
Yes, actually. And, as a parent, I'm like, yeah, know how it goes. No, I think what Edwin here has is a really strong start. Go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and then get the aspirational part of it. Your soccer players wearing your watches, the coolest thing. Get that above the fold. And the fact that you said, hey, I've got 150 visitors today and 1 to 2 sales per week, off to a strong start, right? Like the fact that you're getting sales.
Getting sales, yeah, that is something. Like, don't discount that.
Yeah, and you're a watch. A $200 watch, it's not an impulse purchase. Yeah, so the conversion rate's going to be a little lower. You're never going to
have a gangbusters conversion rate selling a $200 item, especially like kind of a commodity item in a watch.
Yeah. The chances are anyone buying a $200 watch already owns 1 or more watches. Here we have Dylan West.
What are the best ways to offer free gift with purchase over X dollars without using Shopify Plus? I would love to stop offering free shipping and instead offer a free different gifts at $50, $75, and $100. Is Shopify Scripts now not Shopify Plus anymore?
No, it's still Shopify Plus.
Damn.
And Shopify Flow is still Shopify Plus. But I really was quite convinced that in Q1 of this year, Shopify Flow was going to be made available.
I thought they were making Scripts not Plus only anymore.
I thought it was Flow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that would be the way to do it.
Anyway, neither of these apps, both of those apps are Plus exclusive as of right now.
Is there a way to do it then without those? There's apps. There's like a free gift with purchase app, right?
There are plenty of apps that will do this. There's one I think it's called like Auto Adder. There's a whole bunch of them. All of them are, none is going to be perfect in 100% of scenarios. And you're already complicating it a little bit by it's not just free gift with purchase. It's free gift with purchase and it's tiered.
Which is good. I like that.
That's a really brilliant idea.
That's the way to do it. No, we agree.
And make sure you're communicating that to the customer to get the value of the average order value bump with this.
Yeah, and I honestly think, and what is Plus now? Does it depend?
No, it's $2,000.
$2,000 a year?
$2,000 US a month currently.
A month. So
they don't give the pricing on the website. I don't know if I'm allowed to say
$24,000 a year. I mean, I don't know how much Dylan's store makes, but I mean, he could easily pull off an extra $24,000 a year getting this set up properly with the average order value bump he would see.
Okay, I know what his store is, and I would say, yeah, probably.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been my...
It's the cleanest way to implement it.
Yeah, and that's always been my thought is like the stuff you could do with scripts and flow.
That's the core value.
You just need like a base. You just need a base level of knowledge with how to manipulate those. Those are worth $24,000 a year. You will make money more than $24,000 a year using those things. Definitely.
That is the best endorsement for Plus I have heard out of you.
What? No, I mean it's true. I mean I see this.
You lived it.
There's the crap we do with scripts all the time.
So the answer is this is a great idea. Use an app. I don't know which one is the best one. There are several that will do this. The last one I used successfully to do something like this was Pixel Unions. What's it called? Ultimate Special Offers was the one we used. But there are many, so I would look. Peter White from AbstractOcean.com, Tesla aftermarket accessory seller, says, when is the right time to bite the bullet on a 2.0 theme? And then he specified in parentheses, sections anywhere, which it's sections everywhere. Or is it anywhere?
Who knows?
Yeah. And or how often should you refresh your theme in general, mostly to sweep out old redundant code if you have a habit of trying a lot of apps?
I mean, to go back to the car metaphor, it's like, when should I buy a new car? It's like, well, obviously, if your old car like doesn't work anymore, but if your old car is working fine, it's like, I don't know, when you get tired of it, like.
Which, in practice, I think tends to be 3 to 5 years. I think like by 4 years, just trends change, features change, and old crufty code builds up. So if I just want to give you, like, quantify this, how often, when's the right time, how often to change? Every 4 years. There you go.
Okay.
And you say, like, when should I upgrade to a 2.0 theme? Yeah, really, I think you'll know. I think you'll know when you've outgrown your theme.
Yeah. And I mean, some people are like my dad, and they just like see like a cool new thing, and they're like, well, I got to have it. Well, why? Was the old one bad? I want the new one.
You know what? And
Like,
if
that could just be it. Then that
it's
could
your
be
business,
your reason.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
That's how we got a Laserdisc player.
Ooh. Did you have Star Wars on Laserdisc?
No, we had Christmas Vacation,
Oh, wow, that's easily one of my favorite movies.
Home Alone,
All right, so we're going with 2 Christmas movies.
and a...
Did you make this purchase in November?
Get ready for this. And a collection of MC Hammer videos.
Those came with the Laserdisc player.
I don't-
It was free gift with purchase. That's what that was.
I don't know. That's all I know.
And then to Peter's other question, sweep out old redundant code if you have a habit of trying a lot of apps. I think part of your standard operating procedure on uninstalling an app should be email the app support and say, "Hey, I trialed this app. I don't need it at this time, but I want to make sure my theme stays performant. Is there any old code I should know about and need to uninstall?" And for a lot of apps, either the answer is no, or the code is loaded in a conditional way where like it's not actually ever going to show up on the front end of the store without the app being present.
Yeah.
But unless you ask or spend, even more time sleuthing, you're not going to know. So you may as well just ask and find out. But yeah, just like consider that part as that's one extra step in I uninstalled a theme. I would also say frequently go through your themes and or go through go review your apps and uninstall the stuff you're not using, because apps are what have the biggest performance cost.
Justin Shook. Now that Metafields are much easier to use and maintain, which would be a better way to build unique product detail pages, custom dev sections driven by Metafields, or separate page templates designed in the site customizer? Metafields. Like this whole thing where we're making 10 different page templates for 10 different products, like
Brutal.
done. Do not do that anymore.
Because, and the problem with that is, let's say we've got the previous question, hey, I want to upgrade my theme. When should I upgrade my theme? If all of that content is built into custom page templates stored in the theme, you then need to recreate all of that when you make the new theme. Versus if you had stored it all in Metafields, you just need to add the Metafields into one template and then it populates.
Yeah.
So, that's a really good illustration of why you should marry yourself to Metafields. And, sections anywhere and everywhere, to get the anywhere part out of it, again, you got to be using Metafields.
Yeah, because if it's...
Otherwise, it's going to start duplicating the same content.
Yeah, because if it just lives inside the template, it's not going to be anywhere else than inside that template. And so it can't be everywhere. It can only be in that template.
The title of this episode is now Metafields. Sandra Klein. I'd love to hear tips on sections anywhere. How to utilize them in product pages. And the answer is start with Metafields.
Yeah, I mean, I don't... It's hard for me to give an answer on this because...
I know, it's like, I want to start with Photoshop. What should I use it for?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like sections, it's a tool, right?
It's a tool, yeah. You would just create... I mean, here's the thing. Sections Anywhere kind of doesn't live up to the hype in that if you're building these sections on using the customizer tool, all that stuff is still showing up on every single page. You're not making different product pages. You're just building out product pages. You have to, within that customer tool, the actual content inside the blocks you're moving around has to be populated by Metafields in order for it to be different on every single product.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't get about sections everywhere when they hear about it. Yeah. It's like
they think
it'll work the way you think, assuming you're using Metafields.
Yeah, they think that I'm going to create a section block in the tool that says like, this is the best product ever. And then I'm going to go to this other product and type in, this is the second best product ever. No, you're not. That this is the best product ever is now going to show up on every single thing unless that's a Metafield that's on the product page that says like subtitle or whatever that you're then putting in there.
Yeah. So, all right, here's an easy way to look at it. If you stored that content in the theme editor, in that block, that piece of content now is attached to that block wherever that block lives.
Yep.
Versus if that block pulls from a Metafield, now it's dynamic.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's where the disconnect comes from. So if you wrap your head around that, you're good to go. Jimmy Hickey asks, are you guys or any of the brands you work with diving into the world of NFTs and Web 3.0?
I hope you're making like a barf noise.
I'm not. I had something else I was going to
do. We did have a client that did an NFT, right?
We did.
How did that go?
It was mired in technical problems. It didn't go amazing. They did eventually sell all of them that they had minted, and they were cool.
No, they're not.
Okay, but by NFT, they like fit
the idiocy,
the style of NFTs.
I don't know. You can hear my thoughts about NFTs on Clubhouse this week. If you want to join me.
Clubhouse. Yeah, how's Clubhouse going?
I don't know. I mean, at least with Beanie Babies, you had something.
I had a thing in my hand.
A Beanie Baby.
Did you watch the Beanie Baby documentary?
My wife did. I caught pieces of it.
She watched it. I caught pieces of it because I was in the metaverse.
Oh, you were with my wife? She watched it?
My wife. And we're married to different women, to be clear. And no, I ended up watching it. It was really interesting. It's like e-commerce lore. I encourage people to watch the Beanie Baby documentary.
You got it. I mean, I don't know. It's very stupid.
It was very exciting. A lot of fun.
It
turns out the guy who
Ty Warner, he's a monster.
Who created Beanie Babies. I thought the internet was a passing fad. That was really, really a stunner. It was the community that drove that whole thing. Anyway, so NFTs.
No. It's a con job. It's meaningless. It's people money laundering.
Metaverse?
Oh, yeah, metaverse. What's that? VR, kinda? I don't know. What's the metaverse? Just making up words now.
You know, what's funny is how quickly they turned on Web 3.0. Like that, I think that Web 3.0 term came and went.
Web 3.0 existed for about 4 months. If you look at the Google Trends, it didn't exist until August. And now we're done.
Yeah.
Now we're on metaverse.
Because it was really, true or not, it was exposed as like VCs trying to rebrand crypto.
Yes, that's exactly
as Web
what
3.0.
Yeah.
And so they're like, that's going to go away.
We're just making up words.
Metaverse is not going away.
It's all just making up words to make stupid people give us money. That's all it is.
1 star.
Yeah, whatever.
No, we had a single client who did an NFT once. Now, I don't have any clients who accept crypto.
And everyone told them they were idiots, right?
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't know. Like, it was like, that was a thing we did. Moving on. I don't know. Like, I don't know that it lived up to the expectation. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
Shopify supports NFTs.
Great. What does that mean?
There's an NFT program.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know anymore.
That's what I'm just going to keep going anytime anyone might. What does that mean?
My tokens.
What does that mean? And they'll be like, there's a number that says a JPEG. I control the number attached to that JPEG.
My tokens are getting funged.
Great. That's great.
More practical than this would just be accept crypto as a payment. And that, I don't really see either. I know there's stores that do it. But, why don't you just see mass adoption of crypto as a payment in Shopify stores? They support it.
Because it's too complex. It doesn't make any sense. And most people don't actually have crypto. And because the idiots that do see it as an investment vehicle.
And the transaction fees are brutal.
One crypto transaction fee is an American household's energy usage for 2 months.
Oh. Yeah. See, the environmental cost of crypto concerns me. And if you have crypto thoughts, share those with Paul, not me.
I'm just going to block you.
Do you have NFT muted on Twitter yet?
No, I did a thing where Bitcoin, crypto, or NFT, I have an extension that does a text replacement and replaces them with Beanie Babies.
I remember you mentioning this, and it's still funny.
Yeah, it's just like, whatever, like this cool guy getting into new funding round for Beanie Baby investments. It's like, that's what they did.
My issue is I still don't see practical implementation of anything.
The practical implementation is I made a bunch of money in Bitcoin because it went up. And so now I have all this money and I don't want to pay taxes on it. So now I'm going to launder it into something else. That's what it is.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Peter White. Peter White from Abstract Ocean is now considering going back into Amazon FBA. There's zero doubt it would increase our revenue, if not our margin, and potentially reduce the stress we're getting from our 3PL. We hear from other sellers that tell us Amazon is easier to work with now and listing hijackings are less common. Customers are constantly reminding us they could get the product XYZ from Amazon in a day for free. Is dealing with the Amazon devil smart, or should we just double down on our own operation if increasing revenue is the goal? I think if your fulfillment operations could support it, and your product is not something like bespoke and configured and weird, it's straightforward, or I could just buy it, then why not give yourself more exposure and opportunity and use the various marketplace sales channel that Shopify's integrate with and plug it in? Like, you can attach all kinds of marketplaces to Shopify. Like Walmart, you can sell on Walmart.com really easily. You can sell on Amazon, Etsy.
To me, I think the most important thing is that last sentence is if increasing revenue is the goal.
It makes it sound like...
If it's just straight top-line revenue, sure, go for it.
Yeah.
Might not see that increase in profit, though.
Yeah.
And, like, long-term, there's, like, the worries there.
And clearly, he was on Amazon before, and it was a bad enough experience where he went, this isn't worth the hassle.
I mean...
The other one is you really expose yourself to... You attract competitors.
I mean,
when you're successful on Amazon, it's a double-edged sword.
I want us to stay ideologically consistent on this show. And I mean, before we've kind of been like, hey, yeah, you probably want to get off Amazon. It's probably not the best idea for you long term.
And now he mentioned it. He said, hey, it's like that. You could hear it in the way he phrased it. They were on it and left. And he said, other sellers tell us they're easier to work with now, meaning they were not easy to work with before. And listing hijackings, which is a real nightmare,
are less common.
They still happen.
Not handled.
Yeah, it's like someone thinks they're buying your thing, and instead someone else fulfills it with something else. The customer has no idea, and they're like, your product's garbage.
Yeah.
What's your problem?
Does he, Pete sells Tesla parts, stuff for your Tesla.
Yeah.
Like cool Tesla accessories. Are people saying to him, they can get it from Amazon in a day for free? I assume it's a different product than his specifically, or is he like drop shipping some of that? He
sells stuff. It's like I've got like this keychain cover.
Yeah.
The Tesla key fob's notoriously stupid.
Yeah.
And so he's got like a nice holder for it. And I have one of those. I like it. But he's not the only guy who sells Tesla keychains.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, in my head, it's sort of, again, he just wants to make more money. He wants to make more straight top-line revenue money.
Then the answer is,
in that case,
just
go to town. Yeah, put it everywhere. But I feel like for that kind of stuff, and he sells a lot of other stuff, like cool accessories holders that go in your cup holder and like various Tesla-specific items that I assume there's also Chinese factories pumping out other Tesla-specific items. And in my mind, the actual answer to those people is, then go buy the Amazon one. It's crap. Mine's not.
Ooh, I like that. Also, like, they'll ship it to me in a day. How fast do you need this?
Yeah. But, and so it's sort of like...
Can he make his fulfillment faster?
Yeah, like he's trying to convince himself to get back on Amazon.
It sounds like you don't want to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, no offense to Pete, I don't feel like he has a very high margin business. I might be wrong. I might be totally wrong.
No, they get some of that stuff manufactured.
Yeah. So I'm sort of like, if you just want to make one number bigger, I guess go on Amazon. But I am not convinced it's going to make his overall business healthier.
I think the short answer is it depends.
To me, it really just smells like he's struggling with the idea and like is looking for someone to give him permission to do it. And that could mean that he actually doesn't want to do it. So
in those situations, that's when I ask myself, what would someone smarter than me do? And it's by reframing it. And I've seen articles about like various ways to ask the same thing, but it's essentially like, if you're giving someone else advice on a problem versus you're thinking through the identical problem for yourself, you'll probably have two different ideas on you versus what you tell them. And the advice you give someone else is usually better than what you yourself do, So you reframe it in the third person. What would someone smarter than me do? And usually you'll find you already knew the answer, right? Go with that. I don't know. Pete, go with your gut on this one.
Yeah, we like you, Pete. Like Pete's one of our clients.
Yeah, I like Pete.
We like Pete.
I like Tesla accessories.
Yeah. You could have just brought this to us privately. I don't know why he had to make our
I like the
business
content.
relationship public.
Thank you. Thank you for working with us in public, Pete. All right, we will end it there. And in our next episode, we're going to discuss the top trends shaping 2022 and beyond, and the recommendations you need to build a brand that lasts. I copied that from the meta description for the Shopify Trends report.
Yeah.
For 2022.
Shopify released this like 170-page report.
It's really good.
And we got to read it. And we'll talk to you about it after we read it.
Yeah, I mean, you could go download it now and check it out if you want, or we'll give you our highlights from it next week. And, of course, we would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. So please join our Facebook group, Unofficial Shopify Podcast Insiders, and talk to us.